Welcome back, my students, to part 2 on the lecture of how to make a faction. Today's lesson will be relatively short, due to a combination of IRL circumstances causing delays in the development schedule, and the final portion based on the units being quite long, to say the least. So today, we shall be covering the faction's description, the lore, and the environmental table. Let us begin. The description and lore of the faction are pretty self-explanatory. The faction description is just that, a description of what you have in mind for them. This will typically include a brief summary of what the faction might be, what their intended playstyle is, or even a brief lore snippet. More often than not, you'll find them all, and then some. Speaking of lore, lore is what gives your faction flavor. It's what gives it that pizzazz. Now, this section won't be necessary in order to make a faction, but lore does give it a significant edge. Which reminds me, I need to work on mine, lol. Anyways, back on track. The lore you add can be anything you wish, whatever makes it unique in your opinion. Albeit nothing that's blatantly offensive or vulgar anyway, which has already been established in the previous video. Anyways, you can write about who's in charge, what their homeworld is like, random fun facts about them, or even various cults and creeds. The entire world is yours. Literally, I might add. And now, we move on to the environments. What gives the game of If Worlds Collide its flair. These are randomly drawn effects, which change at the start of every round in a game. One requirement in this process is that you must have a set of 6 environmental effects before your faction can be published. While there are a few exceptions, such as the deck, that have more, you have to have at least 6. Now, what counts as an environmental effect? Well, that'll be anything that affects all units on all sides equally. This can range from simple status effects, be it positive or negative, which can affect every stat on a unit, be it defense, movement, attack power, attack accuracy. Others can get far more complex. These can range from removing the ability to heal entirely, forcing checks that might render the units unable to move if they fail, inflicting status effects such as hurts to breathe, where at the end of the round the unit will lose health, or even adding a third-party unit that'll attack anyone within range. Some examples of which you can see in the video feed before you. And as with everything else I will explain to you in this series, the world is your oyster. So long as it's not game-breaking or causes too much confusion, but hey, that's what playtesting is for, you can make anything you wish into an environment. Just don't forget to add your faction's flavor to them. One last thing to cover in regards to environments is the tactic penalties section. During each round of play, each player might want to attempt a tactic or two to help boost their units. But what happens if you fail the check? Well, that's where the penalty comes in. This is where the player's plans get sabotaged. Much like with the effect itself, the penalty can be whatever you wish, albeit within reason. Some examples of tactic penalties include forced movement, whether that be to a pre-designated area such as the edge of the board, or to a spot of the opponent's choosing, having certain aspects of a unit be neutralized entirely for the round, whether it be movement, the ability to attack, heal, or any other abilities the unit might have, or it could create more obstacles through which your units would have to travel. More examples of which can be seen in the feed before you. And that, my students, concludes this second part of my lecture series on how to create a faction. The third and what should be the final part should be uploaded next week, provided there aren't any complications. I must warn you though, there is a lot to cover in regards to unit creation, and thus the video is going to be a long one. Once more, thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do so. And I hope to see you next time.